الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم صدق الله العظيم. From Ayat number 6 of Surat Baqarah, we went over the few ways that shaitan, he influences us human beings. One of those ways is through waswasa, through whispers. And these whispers, generally they're used as a means of distraction, confusion. Sometimes a person is making wudu and shaitan puts thoughts in their mind. We start entertaining those thoughts. We even lose count of our wudu. After the wudu, we're checking if we washed our face or our arms or not. Parts of the wudu are missing in our memory. The same applies in salah, the same applies in various other a'mal. This is one of the ways that shaitan, he affects us human beings. The next way is through hamazat. Hamazat are a little more intense in the sense that they end up building within the person thoughts about other people. And these thoughts about the wickedness or that someone is wicked, even though that thought may have no basis, it then transforms into gossip and backbiting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed every backbiter and every talebearer. But that person who's backbiting and spreading gossip, so it has started from somewhere, and it starts from the hamazat of shayateen. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs the believers, وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ هَمَزَاتِ الشَّيَاطِينِ وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ رَبِّ أَنْ يَحْضُرُونَ. This is a dua that is given to us believers. That if someone is prone to those kind of thoughts that would lead him to gossip or to backbiting or to even trying to spy on others, so then this dua, رَبِّ أَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ هَمَزَاتِ الشَّيَاطِينِ. That, O my Rabb, O Allah, I seek your refuge from the hamazat of the shayateen. Those suggestions that would build about animosity against others. وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ رَبِّ أَنْ يَحْضُرُونَ. And O Allah, I seek your refuge, lest these kind of shayateen are present with me or they come into my presence. So, these hamazat are also very dangerous. The other aspect through which shaitan influences a human being, and we'll get into the details of how that leads to kufr, is through various suggestions that one leads to the other, that in the end the person is left very far away from the truth. We call these khutuwat, like breadcrumbs or footsteps. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Don't follow the khutuwat of shaitan. For a believer who is very righteous, so shaitan will come to him and will give him all of the fada'il, all of the virtues of a specific nafl amal. To do this form of dhikr or make this kind of dua at this particular time. And slowly shaitan will make that righteous deed so important in the heart of the believer, or in the heart of that righteous person, that the righteous person starts to feel that this good deed is the best of all good deeds. And eventually, through that deed and that amal, the importance of more intense a'mal are given less value. The fara'id or the wajibat. This person in his mind starts to lose value for what is even fard. Shaitan will tell him to do this dhikr at that time and you'll be okay. So now the shaitan starts giving him the virtues of a specific dhikr or a specific amal. And that becomes so important to the person that slowly he starts to give up or miss the other a'mal. That's one way that shaitan influences a person. The other way, the shaitan comes to a person who's very righteous and will start making him give up those a'mal that are not so important. Make him give up his nafl, make him give up his sunnah, one stage at a time, slowly. Once the nawafil are given up, so you've lost one barrier of protection. Now the sunnah is given up, another barrier of protection is gone. Shaitan starts coming to the person, your fault is enough. What do you need this sunnah? You make your salah so long. Where is this? Where is the proof? Now shaitan wants you to prove to yourself that something is sunnah, even though it is established sunnah through the Sahaba radiallahu anhum and the ulama and the ilm of deen. You can read the books of ahadith. But not everybody has access to all that type of knowledge or all that level of knowledge. So shaitan starts putting these doubts in the heart of a person. Stage by stage, step by step, the person starts missing his sunnah, giving up sunnah. One day he misses, next day he misses. And as human beings, our nature is that when something becomes consistent, we lose the importance of it or we lose the heaviness of it. So now that importance of the sunnah is gone from the life of the person. Another level or another barrier of protection is gone. Now shaitan comes to the person and slowly starts making him give up his salawat. And the first salah that shaitan attacks a person with is the asr salah. Person may wake up for fajr. He may pray his dhuhr, but asr time, person comes tired from work. That is generally the time of the day where a person is tired. In America, either you're going to work at that time, or you just came back from work, and that's a very important time. Shaitan slowly starts making you give up that asr salah. And then he attacks your fajr salah. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He has told us, حَافِظُوا عَلَى الصَّلَوَاتِ وَالصَّلَاةِ الْوُسْطَى وَقُومُوا لِلَّهِ قَانِتِينَ. Be protectors of your salah, protect your salah and your middle salah. Salat al-wusta, the middle salah. What is the middle salah in the day? Salat al-asr. Because shaitan will attack this salah first. You know, when you break the balance in something, it's easy to tilt and make everything gone, you know. That is why they tell you to get your tire alignment, because your alignment is off, you won't be able to drive straight. You know? Similarly, once that asr salah is gone, then it becomes very easy for shaitan to tip the balance and slowly make you give up your salawat. This is how shaitan works, gradual, one stage at a time, one step at a time. Then from there, shaitan will start making this person involved in major sins, one step at a time. And eventually the person ends up in such sins that he leads him to kufr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, كَمَثِلِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِذْ قَالَ لِلْإِنسَانِ اكْفُرْ. The example of shaitan is that he tells a human being that disbelieve, become a kafir. It's a gradual stage. فَلَمَّا كَفَرْ, when the person has become a kafir, قَالَ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّنْكَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Shaitan tells him that I've absolved myself of you. I've done my job on you. Even I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Rabbul Alameen. I've made you disbelieve in Him. There's a famous story about a monk known as Barsisa. He was a monk amongst the Bani Israel. He was very righteous. And he was the most righteous person known in that time. So there were three brothers that were going on a journey for a very long time, 1 or 2 years back then. If you wanted to go on a journey, it used to take very long, especially if you had to go long distance. So the three brothers were going around trying to find someone. They had one sister. And they were trying to find someone that they could entrust to look after their sister. Everyone that they would ask, people would tell them, go to Barsisa. He's righteous. When they came to Barsisa, he said, no. I know the fitna of women. I'm not going to. I know how shaitan affects us. I'm not taking this responsibility. So the brothers left. Shaitan came to Barsisa and said, what are you doing? You know, they've put so much trust in you. And you're a God-fearing person. And who also they leave their sister with? If they leave their sister with someone else, so they may be able to abuse their sister or not look after her. But you're a trustworthy, righteous person. Very good thought. Shaitan starts with the good, you know. Shaitan, he'll give you the sweet candy, but in the middle is very bitter, you know. Once you get to the middle, it's too late. So, Shaitan, he came with this thought in his mind, and Barsisa thought to himself, and he said, yeah, you know, you're right. Who else is going to look after their sister? So Barsisa made a system where their sister was put in one room, somewhere in a different area. And Barsisa called the three brothers and said, listen, okay, your sister will stay in this room, and I will make the food, and I'll place the food in a specific place, so your sister should come take the food and go. And other than that, there will be no kind of interaction. I will leave the food there, she should come at this time, the food will be waiting for her. Other than that, I'm doing my ibadah, tell her to do ibadah also. And after you come back, after 1 or 2 years, whenever you come back, you know, you'll find your sister, you can take her. This is the agreement that we have. So the brothers were very happy. They said, oh, you know, Barsisa is a very righteous person, he has agreed to this. So this arrangement started. Barsisa put the food in one place, the sister would come take the food and go back to her room. So Shaitan came to Barsisa and said, Barsisa, what are you doing? She has to leave the confines of her room. Someone can see her, you know, even if she's covered, no one should see her, anyone can hurt her on her way to pick up the food. Just do this, leave the food at her door. You don't have to do it. Instead of leaving the food here, go to her door, put it in front of her door. So she'll take her hand and she'll take the food. So Barsisa started putting the food in front of the door. Then after some time, Shaitan came to him and said, Barsisa, she has to take her hand outside, and her hand is also, has to be covered. Somebody can see her hand. You know? How righteous Shaitan becomes, you know. So he says, instead of putting the food outside, put the food inside the door and leave. So Barsisa started putting the food inside. After some time, Shaitan came to Barsisa and said, you know, she's very lonely. She hasn't even heard the voice of anyone. At least say Assalamu alaikum. Put the food and say salam. What's wrong with that? There's no sin in giving salam to someone. So from salam, it turned into kalam. From giving salam, it turned into speech. Now he started chatting with her, and you know where it leads to. In the end, Shaitan made Barsisa give up his a'mal and even commit the major sin of zina. And she even conceived. So Shaitan came to Barsisa and said, you know, if the brothers come back, what do you think they'll do to you? What you did to their sister? But I have a solution. Kill her and kill the child. From where? Righteousness to murder. So Barsisa killed her, killed the child. Shaitan said that when the brothers come back, just tell them she got sick and she passed away. Who's going to find out? Who will investigate? They don't need to know. Barsisa committed murder. After that, the brothers came back. Barsisa told them the story. She got sick, and after the sickness, you know, there was no response, and I found out, and we buried her. He showed them some random grave somewhere else. And the brothers were satisfied that he's a righteous, trustworthy person. There can be nothing wrong. That night, Shaitan came to each one of the three brothers and told them the whole story, that Barsisa is lying to you. Let me tell you the real story. And the grave he showed you is the wrong grave in case you dig it up. But her real grave is here. Shaitan showed them the exact place of the grave. Three brothers woke up in the morning. One of the brothers said, I saw a very strange dream. A wise old man came to me and told me something else happened to our sister. Second brother said, you know, I saw the same dream. Third one said, this can't be a coincidence. Let's go to the place where that old man showed us. When they dug up, they found their sister and they found another child buried. So they brought Barsisa. They said, you lied to us. And we're going to kill you now. The verdict of murder, of killing Barsisa was set. For someone who commits murder, they have to be put to death in that sharia. When they were about to kill Barsisa, Shaitan came to Barsisa and said, oh Barsisa, I did all of this to you. And I'm the only one that can get you out. Barsisa said, yes, please get me out of this situation. So Shaitan said, oh, very simple. All you have to do is do sajda to me. Bow your head in sajda, and I will get you out of this situation. So Barsisa, when he bowed his head to do sajda to Shaitan, they cut off his head. And he died a kafir. This is how Shaitan works. With the righteous people, this is how Shaitan works. He'll come to you, one step, very, very slow, something very innocent, he'll lead all the way to kufr. That is why, be very, very, very careful. When hearing suggestions from Shaitan, be very, very careful where it leads you. One has to be very, very careful when listening to Shaitan. So this is how Shaitan leads a person, one step at a time, one step. And eventually a righteous person can even leave the deen. That's how he works on the righteous people. As for the kuffar, shaitan makes their kufr alluring to them. Shaitan, he makes their kufr, their disbelief alluring to them. And it starts from, first and foremost, living a life that does not include the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A carefree life, they call it freedom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes we live in the 21st century, living in America, we think these are new concepts, democracy and freedom. These are not new concepts, they've always been there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّدْ لَهُ شَيْطَانٍ فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. That whosoever lives a life that is void of the dhikr of Ar-Rahman, that does not have any kind of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no concept in any way of the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, نُقَيِّدْ لَهُ شَيْطَانٍ. The word qayyid is actually like a prisoner. And in prison you have inmates. Two people share a cell. So this shaitan becomes the inmate of this person. And in prison, you become inmate. فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. And that shaitan becomes a qareen. There are different types of qareen. When it comes to friendship, when it comes to friends, we have various levels of friends. There are some you just say hi to, some that you grow up with, and then some that you can trust. But qareen are someone that know your intimate secrets. They know everything about you. They're so close to you. From young age, they grow up with you, your best friend. You share everything. They're called qareen. There are a few different. In the Quran, this word comes a few times. Qurana and qareen. وَقَيَّدْنَا لَهُمْ قُرَنَاءَ فَزَيَّنُوا لَهُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the term here also, that this qareen. Every human being has two qareen. Every human being has two qareen. One, an angel, and the other, a shaitan, a devil. For every human being, there's one malak, one angel sitting on the right side of the heart. When the person gets the niyyah, he makes an intention to do a good deed, so this angel starts encouraging him, giving him more and more force. Until he does the good deed, and it also makes him, gives him sakina, gives him tranquility. On the other side of the heart, you have shaitan. It's the other qareen, a devil. And when this person gets a bad thought to commit a sin, that shaitan puts his snot, he has the snot of a mosquito, he puts that inside the heart. And starts feeding him ideas how to commit that sin. Until the person commits the sin. Whichever one we listen to more, that becomes your qareen, that becomes your intimate friend. But these shayateen, when they become an intimate friend of someone, they're there the whole life. They're always there with you. They know you, they know your secrets. And what is amazing is that after a person passes away, the malak or the angel goes back. But the shaitan, the devil, remains on this earth. That is why sometimes people, they're scared to go by cemetery. They say, I saw my dead grandmother. That was not your dead grandmother. That was a jinn. And some of these psychics, these so-called psychics, one form of sihr, type of magic, and we'll discuss magic when we get there. Nowadays everybody's somehow affected by magic, and you go back home, everybody has some form of sihr done to them. But to understand what is sihr and the details of that, it's a discussion for another time. But part of that is also that this qareen, it goes to these psychics. The psychic people who claim that they can talk to those who have passed away. In reality, they're not talking to the dead person, they're talking to the qareen of that dead person. They're talking to that devil that remained behind. And that shaitan knows all the secrets about you. And then that psychic will be telling you, yes, there was this one time on July 5th, 2007, and your grandmother gave you this kind of amulet and told you this and this, and gives you details that only your grandmother could have known. And you say, there was nobody else in that room. How did you know? He's not talking to the dead, he's talking to that qareen. He's getting information from that devil. And the shayateen, the devils, they have very long life, the jinn. They naturally have hundreds of years long life. Anyhow, so this shaitan also, if he becomes a qareen of a person, وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَصُدُّونَهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ, this shaitan will mislead this person on the wrong path, take him down a very, very dark path. وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, and will make this person think that he is righteous, he's guided, he's doing something very good, How many sins we're involved in our society. And what is the excuse? We give them everybody freedom. With the excuse of freedom and freedom of expression, how much haram has been made okay? from drinking, from all the haram that is. I don't even need to go into our society. We all know our society, how far it has gone, and the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where is this? This is how the shaitan makes the kuffar, makes alluring for the kuffar. وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that shaitan beautified the nations of the past. There were many nations that were destroyed. قوم نوح, قوم عاد, قوم ثمود. Many aqwam, many nations in the past were destroyed. But in all of them in totality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم. Shaitan beautified for them their actions in their evil ways. فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ فَهُمْ لَا يَهْتَدُونَ. And so shaitan misled them from the path, so they were never ever guided. And in the end, they incurred upon themselves the wrath and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how shaitan works. You know, if somebody is doing something and they realize what they're doing is wrong, there's a chance you can make them understand. You can sit them down and say, listen, what you're doing is wrong. Okay? If somebody using basic common sense and they start to realize, you know what I'm doing is something wrong, you can change his mind. But somebody who doesn't even think there's something wrong, how are you going to fix him? How are you going to help him? They have a saying in the medical field, non-complacent patient, you know. Patient, so somebody sick comes to the hospital, but they don't agree and they don't think they're sick. And the doctor tells him 100 times, look, you have this sickness, take this medicine. He doesn't listen, he doesn't care, you know. Tells the doctor, you're wrong. I know I'm not sick. Who's going to help this person? And many doctors just say, look, whatever, man, just go. You're hopeless. You're a hopeless case. Non-complacent patient. You're not ready to listen, you know. So when they're not ready to listen, how you can help them? Similarly, a person who doesn't think they're doing something wrong, how are you going to help this person? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in ayat number 6. And this is how shaitan makes their deeds so alluring, that this has to be the perfect way. How are they ever going to change? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in ayat number 6 of Surat Baqarah, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. That for those who are kafir, for those who disbelieve, and the word kafara yakfuru, those who hide the truth, is very, very similar. Cover up, kafar. To cover up the truth. Those who disbelieve, who fall into disbelief. Whatever form that disbelief may be. سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. It is the same to them. أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ. Whether you warn them or you don't warn them, لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. They're not going to believe. Why won't they believe? Because they think they're doing something right. And because they think they're doing something right, they don't ever want to change. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a seal on their hearts. A long discussion about the hearts some other time, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a seal on their hearts. They're not ready to listen. They're not ready to think. The heart is considered the center of thought. This person is not ready to stop and think, maybe I'm wrong. So once the heart is plugged, the intellect is plugged, this person will never think that there's a way out, or that he's even doing something wrong. خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِمْ. And there's also a plug put on their ears. They're not ready to listen. They don't want to listen. In fact, if you try to warn them, they even become violent, or they'll even put their fingers in their ears. It's not something new. At the time of Nuh alayhi salam, when he was making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Surah Nuh, the whole surah is about the dua of Nuh alayhi salam. When Nuh alayhi salam was giving da'wah to his people, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that Nuh alayhi salam, he made dua, Rabbi inni da'awtu qawmi laylan wa nahara. Oh my Rabb, oh Allah, I'm giving da'wah and inviting my people by daytime and by nighttime. فَلَمْ يَزِدْهُمْ دُعَائِي إِلَّا فِرَارًا. My da'wah to them, my invitation to them to come to the truth is only increasing their running away from me. وَإِنِّي كُلَّمَا دَعَوْتُهُمْ لِتَغْفِرَ لَهُمْ. Every time I invite them that go seek the forgiveness of your Lord, جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ. They stick their fingers in their ears. They don't want to listen. They become like little children, you know. Stick their fingers in. وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ وَأَصَرُّوا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. They arrogantly wave their clothes at me, or they pack up their clothes and run away from me, showing their arrogance, their dislike. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plugs in their ear. They don't even want to listen to the truth. You try to talk to them, they don't want to hear it. Talk about anything else, they'll sit with you. You try to tell them the truth, that maybe what you're doing is wrong, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ. And on their eyes there is a cover, a veil. They can't even see the truth. And these are the only hopes that we can have of guiding someone. Either we make them think, they start using their intellect, eventually they'll be guided. Or they listen to the truth, reason, it gives them reasoning, they'll be guided. Or they'll see the truth. They make someone see the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once all these avenues are closed, what is left? وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. For them is a very, very great adhab, or a very major adhab and punishment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding. And give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. اللهم اقض حاجاتنا وحاجات المسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم اشفهم أنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك شفاء لا يغادر سقما. اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.